Aloha. I'm Jason Schwartz, your host here at the Neutral Zone, MauiNeutralZone.com. You may know I am the director of the Maui Arts and Music Association, MAMA. And in 1997, we did a show with Hannibal Tavares, who had been our mayor for 11 years. And Airielle and I did a nice interview at his home, actually shortly before his death. And he was a wonderful guest, and people have asked me if I would like to focus on that again and show politics in a different way. And I thought, what a great idea. So that's what we're going to show you today. Thank you for joining us here at the Neutral Zone. Remember, you can watch all our shows. Go to MauiNeutralZone.com, and you will look there. There's a directory of shows. You can look by name or just scroll through and see what you like. And thank you for joining us today. Blessings. Aloha.
Aloha. This is Jason Schwartz of the Maui Arts and Music Association, along with two people that you know and love. Here's Airielle and our friend Hannibal.
Hi.
Hannibal Tavares. Many of you have asked me, when are you going to get an interview with former Mayor Hannibal Tavares?
Yay! We got it.
We're buddying up on the microphone, so you'll see us going back and forth here. Welcome to our show.
Thank you very much, Jason. Very good. I was looking forward to this.
Oh, good. We have, for a long time, wanted to have you on. Many people have wondered. They know you had some health challenges and are back in action. I imagine you're not running any marathon this week.
No.
But we're so happy to be here with you today.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. And we were looking at his beautiful blanket earlier when I came in.
Quite
and
unique, yeah.
it's really special. It's got all these wonderful wishes from many different people on it.
Yeah.
What's it from?
Well, it was during my retirement party. We had this quilt spread on the table with some indelible pencils. People came along and wrote little messages all over it.
Isn't it wonderful?
And, once in a while I read them.
There's Chris Hart.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a who's who of Maui County.
Yeah.
What?
A big bunch. It was 1990,
Wow.
December. And we filled up the hall at Wailuku Community Center. And everybody came out surprised, and we were getting toward the end of the event and all kinds of speeches. And in walks the governor, the lieutenant governor, the
Wow.
president of the Senate, the speaker of the House. They all come marching in together
Oh, how
to attend my retirement party.
Well, as I recall, I was here at the tail end of your regime,
Uh-huh.
but you had 12 years as mayor.
Yeah, 11 altogether.
11 years as mayor. And you helped pass the rule so that no one can run multiple terms?
No, that came in the charter amendments earlier, where they went from a two-term limit, which was 4 years each. Well, when I came along, it was already in place in the charter. But because there was an unfinished term of 3 years of the prior mayor, he resigned with 3 years to go. Those 3 years did not count against the 8-year total. So I put in 11 altogether.
Wow.
Well, I'm sure that you reigned as king wonderfully.
Well, it was a good experience, a highlight of my life, because, Maui has always been a very special place to me. And the people of Maui are different. They're wonderful. And it was a pleasure being the head man of this county. And it just fulfilled my life completely. And my style was to get a lot of input from people. What do you want to see happen here in your county? What's important to you? And it was during my regime that we came out very hard on long-term planning, master planning, zoning, etc. Because I've had a feeling that if we don't do that, we're going to kind of grow hodgepodge and be chop suey. And you have all kind of mixes that don't make sense. So I've been reading about it in some other periodicals and found out that a few places had gone to master planning. So I started discussing that with the council, and everybody liked the idea, so we put it in, it became law. And that was back in, I was a member of the Board of Supervisors in 1958, I think it was, where Maui County became the first county in Hawaii and one of the first counties in the nation to have a master plan. And it brought about more orderly growth. Not perfect, but better than not, you know.
I agree. You know, we can always be more perfect.
Yeah.
It's always, I think, a matter of intention.
Yeah.
And I think it's Maui and the islands in general have a unique situation in that they were owned, most of the land is owned by just a very...
One particular or two,
Yeah,
two owners. It
couple
made a big
owners.
difference. You take like the first big experiment was over in Lahaina with the AmFac.
Right.
And they did the Kaanapali development, which turned out pretty good, excepting I felt that there was not enough public places for the people, ordinary folks. So when A&B started Wailea, I was with A&B at the time. I was a corporate vice president in charge of governmental affairs.
Who owned that land at
and
the
my
time?
feeling was that we better make more space available for the people,
Right.
so that they can get down to the beach. And as a result, if you go to Wailea, you see all these beach rights away with parking and restrooms and all. We did that.
Right.
Thank you very much.
and-
I use those walkways
Well,
and
and
entrances
it's owned by
all
the county,
time.
owned by the county, but maintained by A&B.
Well, I
And,
really thank you.
People
'Cause
can go anytime they want.
'tis
There have
true.
been very few bad experiences. Once in a while somebody gets out of line, but you can take care of those people. But basically we open up the beaches to everybody. And that became a very important part of the plan. The other thing we tried to do is to sell the lots to the hotels in fee simple, large enough so that they could do heavy landscaping. So if you look at the hotels down there, you see lush gardens
That's right.
of
It's
tropical
beautiful.
growth and flowers and trees. That was a result of giving them about 25 acres of land to go with the hotel.
I see.
And that made that also was a very important point in our planning. Made a big difference.
Those were the days, I guess, when things were, it was, I want to say, a wasteland. It was very, Kihei and that area was very dry.
Yeah, there was nothing there. There was just
Old plant.
cavities and brush. And in fact, when I first went down to take a look at it, and A&B had hired me to help them with the plan, I said, boy, what are they going to do with all that stuff? I thought it was almost a mission impossible. But, you know, these guys with ideas and dreams came along, and A&B hired some top flight planners, and they went through about 4 or 5 different plans and finally came up with the one that you see there as a master plan. And it turned out very well. The golf course became a very important part of it. It's all nice and green and landscaped and meticulously kept, so it gives it a beautiful carpet right out front.
Right. It's a
And
beautiful
the ocean in
area.
the back, you know, everything kind of blended together.
And that wonderful walkway that goes all the way
All the way 2
down.
miles,
I
2
walk
miles
that
walkway.
almost every night. I love
That's
it.
good.
It's
2 miles
wonderful.
of that, yeah.
Yeah, it's terrific exercise,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful. And
So we put that in voluntarily because we felt that we didn't. There was complaints when we started to develop that people were saying, "You're going to take all the beaches away from the people. The people are going to lose their beaches." I said, "I don't think so.
yeah,
This is what we're going to do.
I
We're
thank
gonna
you.
have
I'm glad for
Public
that.
rights of way, owned by the county, so owned by the people." And that's how it turned out. And I'm kind of proud of that.
I'm so thankful to you, and you
Yeah.
should be proud of it.
We worked hard on that. There was a lot of disagreements and debate on it. But pretty soon they began to see that's the way you got to go.
Well, I think the large plots of land around them,
Yeah.
as you say, makes a huge
Made a big
amount of
difference.
difference.
There's plenty of land there.
And of course, it was beautiful when it was natural
Yeah.
too. I always loved McKenna, and
Well, I
even
didn't
many
think
years
too much
ago.
of the sticky kiavis.
The kiavis. No, I didn't.
Later on,
They're-
when you brought in those huge monkey paw
Na-
trees,
Nature's
then
acupuncture.
they began to really take shape. Because those monkey paw trees are beautiful, and they're planted where there's room for them to spread out. So if you look at the monkey paw trees at Wailea, they've got room to grow in. Makes all the difference in the world.
It's very beautiful. You know, I've traveled all over the world, and there is no place like Maui. And the people, as you said before, there's just no people like the people here. They're
And I found out another
so
thing,
very
too, that
special.
when you reach out to people and you say, what's your idea? What would you like to see happen? You'd be surprised how many ideas you get.
Absolutely.
They come in and they voice themselves, have some very interesting debates, and the end result usually is good. And I encourage that.
Well, there's so many brilliant people here.
Well, they are.
Brilliant in their own rights and respects.
On my staff, one of the things I made up my mind right off the beginning, I was going to surround myself with people who were competent. I didn't pay too much attention to the politics. I wanted to know, what is the competence of this person? If I'm going to give him an assignment, is he going to be able to handle it? And the result was yes. I brought in some very good people to be on my cabinet.
You did.
Let's turn them loose, you know. And things began to fall into place.
And there was your brilliance.
Then we started getting along very good with the council. At the beginning, they weren't too sure about me because I was a lone Republican on the block and all the rest of Democrats.
Republican, Democrat, I still
I've
don't
always
know.
been a Republican, going back to my parents and my uncle. My uncle was a senator.
What's the difference between a Democrat and a Republican?
Not a heck of a lot anymore. You know, use the old cliches that a Republican is inclined to be a little bit more conservative. He's a little bit tighter with his money. Well, maybe so. But with me, it all depended on the issue. And in my administration, there are a couple of things that made the engine go. One was safety. That's police, fire protection,
right?
Emergency vehicles. The other was having a first-class fire department. We worked on that.
That story you told me about
clean water, sewage treatment, all of them. Those were high priority. Then everything else came.
That was a major growth time for Maui.
Oh, I tell you, the sewer thing was when I came in, we had some real problems with sewers in Lahaina.
Yeah.
The contractor had done a bum job out there. EPA was breathing down my neck. And what I did the first couple of weeks...
Well, isn't it amazing? You become mayor and they suddenly breathe down your neck when it's...
Yeah, they're waiting for me. They're really waiting for me. When I came in, they said, we want to see you in San Francisco right away. You got some major problems. So I got my chief engineer and two of us went up, and boy, when they laid out the problems on the table concerning primarily sewage treatment and water,
right,
I was flabbergasted. I said, well, we're going to have to spend a lot of money on this. But that became priority. It had to be done.
Well, we still have challenges here, don't we?
There's a lot of challenge. I know that we talk about water up country here now. Our plan, just before I left office, we had hired some hydrologists and geologists, and my charge to them was, tell me how we can help solve the drought problem up country.
Right.
So about 3 or 4 of them went to work, and they came out and said they thought the answer was huge storage capacity, the man-made lakes. And so we opted for 2. One was at the 4,000 elevation.
Right.
That's Waikamoe, and that's 100 million gallons capacity. And then the second one was supposed to be down at about 3,000 feet, which would have been 300,000 capacity. They built the first one, but they haven't built the second one. I understand they're talking about the second one now. I wanted that built right away, because if you get those 2 huge reservoirs going, I think you can hold off a drought for about 3 months. And our droughts usually don't last much longer than that.
Thank God. So well, what do we do in the meantime, I guess? Well, we just have to also maybe bottle up some of our water.
Well,
how about that?
We're doing a lot of bottling of water.
Yeah.
I use bottled water here at home. Because bottled water in the pipe is not that clean.
That's right.
But
that bottled water is important.
Yeah, and so I use that all the time now. And out in the Molokai, in the village of Kualapu, if you drive up alongside there, you see this huge man-made lake. That's 1.5 billion gallons capacity.
Wow.
They've never filled it.
Wow.
But it's there. And so when I talk to our geologists, I say, I'm jealous of that in Molokai. I want something like that too.
Can we just get a long straw?
Well, there's ways of doing it. And they came out with a plan. It's all written somewhere. It's in someone's
drawer, huh?
But there were a lot of challenges, still are. And then I was concerned about law and order. I was a former police captain, as you probably know, and crime has always been very important to me.
Well, no crime is very important to you.
The police department was right on top of it. And I think we've got a darn good police department. I like Tagamori. He does a good job.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever they needed more equipment, I'd find the money somehow.
I like your story that you told me about the fire station down in Kahului. Uh-oh.
You've heard of the name Harry Weinberg.
Sure.
Harry Weinberg was the controlling owner of Alexander and Baldwin. He owned about 25% of the stock.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to build a major station in Kahului because that's where all the big buildings were and so forth. So I talked to the president of A&B, Bobby Pfeiffer, a classmate of mine, and I said, I want you guys to donate me some land so I can build a good fire station. Oh, yeah, I think that's a good idea. He called me back and says, Weinberg is against it.
Uh-oh.
I said, how come? He said they were given too much to the county already. So the only thing we can do is you got to come talk to him yourself. Okay, so I go down there one day, and I walked in. He's a very gruff guy, and I can be too, so I put on my acting shoes. And I told him, Mr. Weinberg, you have a lot of expensive property coming up in Kahului that needs fire protection. I want you to provide it. The county will do its part. You give us the land, we'll build a station.
Right.
He looked at it and said, Mr. Mayor, what you probably don't realize is every dollar you get from A&B, 25 cents is mine. I said, yes, but you get your money's worth. And then some.
Mm-hmm.
Whose buildings are we talking about? Not the county's. Talking about your buildings. And the fire station is going to protect them more than anybody else. So we had quite an argument. So I walked up in a huff. When I got back to Maui, my phone was ringing. Bobby Pfeiffer was on. I said, what did you do to Weinberg? So I just didn't do much. Oh, he's all worried because you were angry. I said, well, you give him my message, and you can be as diplomatic as you want to be. But my message is very simple. You say that Hannibal said for him to go to hell. Well, I can't tell him that. So you do it any way you want. Half an hour later, I had the land.
You know,
we have a nice station down there. Very
yeah,
nice station.
And I'm sure the people of Maui appreciate it. You know, it's true. There have been, you worked for A&B, and sometimes, I hear people talk on occasion that you kind of lean to them, but I think also what you said is true.
Yeah.
You've gotten from A&B a tremendous amount for the county of Maui.
We've got parks, we got housing areas, you got all kinds of things. I was not ashamed to ask.
See, you orchestrated a lot. I'm appreciative.
I was knocking on that door all the time.
Right.
And I would say things like, well, Bobby, you have a corporate responsibility.
Well, if you owned all the land on an island, and you got it because there was a missionary family way back when, it does seem that they would be very, not only willing,
we
but...
had some darn good presidents at A&B.
Uh-huh.
Outstanding one was Larry Pritchard. And then along comes my classmate, Bobby Pfeiffer.
Right.
And they really did a lot of good work for A&B, and they didn't leave the county holding the bag either. So that was good.
I think we should take a first break if we okay with you guys. We'll be back soon with Hannibal Tavares and Airielle and me on Mama Presents. Breathe a little bit, stretch a little.
Maui has a great future. No question about it. A lot of things still to be done, and they will be done.
Well, I hope to carry the flag,
I think so. You'll find that people are aware of the potential, I think. And our people as citizens are very alert. They let you know how they feel, and I like that. Because in my office, I had one policy. That door stays open to everybody.
Right.
Especially the small guy. I'm his man. Come and talk to me anytime.
I think that's...
that word got down the line.
I think that's why you were so well respected, what you did.
I love people, always have, and I just had a feeling that you take the businessman, he's got the Chamber of Commerce, unions have the union leaders, but a lot of people out there have nobody. I want to be that guy.
Did you think about being mayor long ago?
No, as a matter of fact, I didn't. It's funny how your life goes, It's just sometimes being in the right place at the right time. I ended up, I was A&B. I had no idea that I would be a vice president there.
Right.
And they appointed me and gave me that promotion. I liked my job very much. And then when Cavalier resigned, everybody was surprised.
Right.
So I started getting calls and visitations to run for that office. Gee, I really hadn't given it much thought. And as I began to talk about it, finally I came to the conclusion, well, I got nothing to lose. Let's give it a whirl, see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny thing was when I put my name in there, we ended up with 18 candidates.
18. Whoa.
18 candidates. So I kind of made light of it. I said, well, there were 17 trombones and 1 tuba, because the tuba made better sounds.
Wow. So did they all go through primaries and got down to 2 for the final? Is that what happened?
If it could have been that way, excepting without charter, if in the primary you get 50% of the vote, you don't have a runoff. You elect it outright.
Oh.
So I ended up with 51% the first round.
Out of 18 people?
Yeah, out of 18 people. So I didn't have to go to
That's
the
amazing.
primary.
That is amazing.
Well, I was more surprised than anybody else, because
Wow.
I thought it would be very hard for a so-called company man to get
Yeah.
that kind of a vote. But I give my whole life to the public, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was with the Boy Scouts and even Girl Scouts.
What did you do with the Girl
PTA.
Scouts?
I was on their board.
Oh, wow.
I helped with their camp up here in Piola.
Right.
And it was PTAs. I was the president of every PTA that my kids went to school at.
Right.
So, you know, all this you get involved, and involved with the church. So pretty soon they begin to fall together, and people know you.
Well, I'm glad that we had all those years here with you.
Oh, really, they were tough
I don't want to
years.
go into some of our former mayors and all their different things going on, but I know you had a hard job.
It was tough. I put in long hours.
Oh, yeah.
I used to work about 16, 18 hours a day, really.
Wow.
And quite often come home with my little satchel for homework, because I try to be current every day. I'd stay up here till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning,
Wow.
finishing my paper so that it wouldn't stack up.
So you were there when Linda Lingle was
She
on council. Why does she and Goro fight so much?
I don't know. They had a real clash of personality.
While they were both council?
They were both in the council. They seemed to disagree with each other a lot. She disagreed with me, too.
You think Goro's going to come around this time, try to be mayor
I don't know.
again?
He must be getting some pressure from Lanai, because they like him on Lanai. He's popular.
Yeah.
So whether or not they're going to talk him running, I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see if he does, because he's an old Warhouse.
Yeah, who else
When
is
he first got
running?
elected,
Yeah.
that was his first year in 1956, I think it was, and he was only 25 years old, I think.
Right.
And he and I served on the Board of Supervisors together. He was very good. We got along real well together.
Well, as the years went on, I mean, he was there in his term for,
Yeah.
what, 15 terms or something?
Yeah, he
Outrageous.
served a long time. I was surprised that he ran for mayor. I didn't think he would do that.
But I just kept finding him and Linda bickering, and I always
Yeah,
wondered.
And it was kind of small stuff that
Yeah.
should not have been.
We have another situation. There's going to be, I don't know about 18 people, but now that Linda can't run,
Yeah,
it's like an open field
There's
now.
going to be a lot of candidates. I predict there'd be probably over 10. And
Well, you
it's
know.
going to be wide open.
You want to pick anyone?
No.
You know, between Republicans and Democrats and Greens and Independents, it's very hard for me to really hear what's really different. I guess we have to look at the personalities and what their ability to lead is, I think.
I would say especially on a local county level.
Mm-hmm.
Your party identity kind of gets lost in the shuffle.
Do you?
Because
You're the
you-
only
you-
one, I think, that beat the Republican rap, mostly around here. If you have Democrat, you have so many votes on the way into the gate,
That's true.
you have to do something wrong to lose.
That's true.
It's a different.
Yeah. I know that on the council level, it's more issue-oriented, and you find yourself taking positions on issues and not on political party stuff. At the legislature, the state level, maybe you do more of that, but not at the local level. In fact, a lot of local governments, they run nonpartisan. All over the mainland, they run nonpartisan. when I got elected to the Board of Supervisors, I was the only Republican elected. But I got along fine with the Democrats. Many votes would come out 6-3, you know, 7-2.
So the Republicans gave you the hard time.
But it worked out very well. I had some good Democrat friends who backed me up all the time. I would back them up, they'd back me up.
Any feeling about the Green Party?
Well, I think, you know, you ran on the Green Party, and I think you made a good showing. You let people know where you are. Now, I think I told you before that I know it's awfully hard for a new party to get off the ground.
Yeah.
It's easier to be part of the Republican or the Democrat party. It's already established.
I figured I've had offers from both Democrats and Republicans to run, and if that's the case, I'll just sort of
try it.
I don't know. To me, I just want to help make a difference, you know?
And you never know until you try. Because others say, oh, you can't do it, you can't do it. Well, that's what they told me. They said I could never be elected mayor.
Right.
I said, okay. I'll see what happens. And I got elected. I was more surprised than anybody else. But, you know, you just never know. So you try. If it doesn't work, then you analyze, regroup, and see what you want to do the next time.
Well, you see, and I'm a little funny in that my interest is not finding out where we have differences, but find out what we have that are the same, so that we might move forward.
That's important.
I think when I've waved my green flag, I've been doing it to try to get people to see that there's a lot of issues that we can agree on. You know,
and what they're interested in you as a candidate is, what do you have to say? What are you for? What are your priorities? That will attract the vote more than anything else, whether it's green, purple, or red.
Getting visibility.
Red, maybe purple.
Yeah, red is a challenge. Getting press visibility as a green was a challenge. That was a challenge. But I know that we've had conversations, you know, off screen here about all the things that are happening here and all the changes that are happening. Do you have any area of Maui that you say that there's something we should focus on now? Anything that's important?
I think we still need a lot of work on water. Water and environmental control, so that we don't mess up what we have here. We've got to keep the air clean and unpolluted. We've got to do a better job with our water. We need a good distribution system. One of the plans for our country was a dual system, where you would treat drinking water, but not treat irrigation water. The carrots don't have to have treated water. They can grow without it.
Right.
So you could do the dual system. It'd be expensive to begin with, but once you have a dual system in, you end up saving a lot of money because you'd be treating only the drinking water, you see. So I think there's all these challenges are there, and then in the field of recreation, it's wide open because the people are finding more time for recreation, and they want the parks, they want the playground.
Which people?
All over.
Oh, you mean in general?
In general.
Here in Hawaii, I keep seeing more and more people working 2 and 3 jobs, trying to figure out how to stay afloat.
Yeah, I feel sorry for them who do that.
You know, and
but on the other hand, there are a lot of them that do have time for recreation.
well, it's nice, you know. We keep making more people. Until we stop doing that, we
you
need.
get down to Wailuku and you see so many things going, soccer and baseball, and so many athletic events going, and people just love it.
Charmaine, we talked about this regional Kihei Park.
Yeah.
How's that going? Any thought?
I think
about
it's going to go. Take some time, but I think it'll come out good. She has some good plans there.
Yeah. So, you know, it's interesting. When you hear the name Tavares, everybody I speak to says the same thing. Ask Hannibal if Charmaine's running. And your answer is?
She won't say. She
Ask Charmaine.
She doesn't know herself.
You know, I have a question.
I know she's enjoying everything, every part of it. She attends all the meetings. She's very conscientious. She puts in. We see less of her now than we did before. But she's just enjoying what she's doing.
Well, you know, I have nothing but good things to say about Charmaine. When I remember when I first came to see you, I was talking to you about my idea about promoting the arts with a disc. Remember that?
Yeah.
The CD and promote tourism and environment.
Yeah.
All these years have gone by, and I'm hoping that maybe that can be rekindled.
Sure.
Things were, what do they say? We were too fat and happy at the time.
Ahead of your
Now
time.
things ahead of my time. Now things are a little leaner. I've had a real good experience at the advisory board for Maui Electric for our 20-year energy future. Any feelings for solar energy and how we're going to do renewable development?
I think the potential is there. I went to a place in California. Oh, what's the name of the place? They have the windmills. A whole field of windmills.
On the way to Palm Springs they have them. They also have them at Livermore,
and
on the way up to Livermore Labs.
I stopped and watched that.
Uh-huh.
It's awesome. And they generate a lot of electricity through the wheel. Now here on Maui, in the island of Molokai,
right,
at Ho'olihua, is probably one of the windiest places in the whole state. And there was a scientist who was interested in putting up windmills. They never got off the ground.
Well, I heard Richard Cameron from, I guess now the Maui News, at the time, Kapalua told me they got involved a little bit with those guys.
Yeah, I think the potential there in solar, because I have a solar heater here in this house. My hot water is all by solar, and it's fine.
You know,
quite a bit of money.
My whole plan is to attract. It's funny. Way back, I think it was about 1989 or 90, when I spoke to Clark Champion over there in Wailea, and we talked about running lines under the then not developed golf course to be able to put modules out on the land Cebu owns and have power supplementing the need from all the hotels. Still can be done. I mean, I know that the ability to do some of these alternative programs, where else would we think of doing them? But right here where our utility rates are high and we want to be self-sufficient, it's exciting. You know,
I think that's a whole avenue that's wide open.
I think so. We were just during the break talking years ago, I don't know how many years ago.
Good. Almost 20 years, I guess.
Well, was it when you started doing that thing?
Yeah, the station manager at KMBI, Dick Mawson, a very talented man, got the idea of putting on a Christmas skit during that holiday season. And he wrote the script. And he wrote in such a way that every episode was a catastrophe. Santa Claus's equipment was breaking down. The sled was broken. The reindeer was sick. All kinds of situations like that, you know. And they had a bunch of us acting, and I was Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So we had a script to read, and we could continue the story. And people got all wrapped up in the story because they wanted to know, well, what's going to happen next? Are those reindeer going to get well and pull that sled and all that kind of stuff, you know? And
you were on council at the time? What were you doing at the time?
Yeah, I was a member of the council then. I was, late in the afternoon, I'd rush down to the station and we just read it once and go, you know. And Nora Cooper was in the play also. And then at the end of the play, about the last 15 minutes, I read letters from the kids to Santa. Dear Santa, I'm a good boy, I want so and so and so. I would read those letters. So one day I'm at home having dinner with the family. Charmaine and the two kids were there. And this program came on the air. And Charmaine says to Mother, you know, Mom, that sounds like Dad. And Mother, well, how can it be? He's right here. She says, yeah, but it really sure sounds like that. But then the matter passed. Years later, she found out that I was the guy. She said, that's the first time my father ever lied to me.
And the last.
And the last.
That's right. Now, you did this radio thing a lot. I had a friend, Gabrielle Olivier, who went to your office. You tell the story so good. I love the way you tell the story.
Well, she came in one day and she said, are you planning to say anything at Christmas time? Do you have a Christmas message?
This was when you were the mayor?
Yeah, I was the mayor. And I said, well, I would like to, but I haven't given it my thought. She said, well, I have one for you.
There you go.
She reaches into the bag and brings out this printed statement, and it was very well done. You know, she's got a gift of words. And I read it. I said, gee, okay, let's do it. All right, I'll make arrangements. She goes down to the station. She talks to people down there. Next thing you know, I'm down there with music in the background, everything else, and we put on the message.
And you kept doing it all the time.
Made a big hit. I was surprised. Yeah.
Do you ever think about putting out a record?
No. Yeah, a lot of fun, though.
Well, you know, I think what I remember most, when you were mayor and I came to you, what I appreciated so much was how down-to-earth you were and how realistic. I mean, I remember that energy. I was dealing on that energy thing.
Yeah.
And there were some people in Australia, and then there was the people here, and I think you told me, we have a little too much red tape here to get this thing done.
Yeah.
Get over to Australia, which I did, and in fact, chief engineer over there passed away, and so it changed the results of things, which may open up this window of opportunity back here on Maui again for the people of Maui.
Yeah.
But how open you were to just being down there.
I had this attitude that someday some guy will walk in there with an idea that you never dreamed of. Listen to him. See what he has to say.
Well, I've always appreciated that in you. Anything that you'd like to say to the people of Maui that you know they've been interested, or anything that you want to say?
Well, I would say that as citizens, be alert, keep up what's going on, read the newspapers, attend the meetings whenever possible, talk to your elected officials, let them know how you feel about things that are important to you, because it will make a difference.
Well spoken. Are you still active doing stuff at all?
Yeah, I talk to a lot of people, and that phone rings all the time.
Does it? Well,
Some people think I'm still the mayor.
I was just thinking.
There's a little story about that.
Yeah.
Do we call you mayor? I said, well, I don't think there's anything written anywhere, but it's kind of an unwritten policy that if you are no longer the mayor because your term ran out, you can always be called mayor. But if you are defeated, you're finished.
Oh.
You lose the title.
So you're still Mayor Tavares?
I'm still mayor,
Yeah.
According to that policy.
Well, you have any plans for getting away?
No, I think I would stay in the background and help people. I'm in a position to give advice, I think, based upon years of being in the firing line. And I'm always willing to sit down. Every election, there's some new candidate who has to come and talk to me about plans, how do you put your campaign together. And I'll spend the time of day. I think it's important.
When we first sat down, I guess it was maybe a handful of months ago, when we had lunch with Dr. Glenn Olds and his wife.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
And Virginia and the whole gram. That was quite exciting for me. I wonder how many people here really knew how close you were to having that capstone university here.
Yeah. We came very close. I had dreams about a 4-year college on Maui so that a youngster could go out and get his bachelor's degree.
Right.
And Glenn Olds happened to come to the scene. We met. We started talking. One thing leads to another. He said, gee, maybe he could have an extension of University of Alaska. Come right here to Mauna Olo in Makawao.
Where now Job Corps is.
Yeah, where Job Corps is. We went down, we took a look, the potential was there, and we started moving along that direction, and then his plan got dinged by his church. I guess they felt that there'd be too much
too
money
big for
going out.
Yeah, and taken away from the glory of their deal.
Yeah. I felt bad about that because I felt that the Maui kids can get the 2 years of college at MCC, and then they're stuck.
Right.
And to go to the campus of Manoa costs a fortune.
And there's something to be said about the media television. You can get from a distance. But I know I myself couldn't replace sitting in class with all those beautiful girls. I don't just want to be alone watching a television screen.
That's
You get a lot more education hands-on, I think.
Oh, of course, yeah. And then you get to know the professor. He gets to know you, and he's right there to answer your questions, and it's live and it's real, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hoping that would happen, and Glenn was all for it.
Right, he's still passionate about it.
He wanted to come and live over here. I got out, picked
He
out.
bought that house, I remember.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I still think it can happen.
That was Maui's loss. I see with Linda Lingo is still very much in favor of a 4-year college. And I wish something happens along the line there because our kids are getting shortchanged.
I thought Glenn's idea and your idea about a university that had years 3 and 4.
That's all we need.
And not to try to duplicate the 1 and the 2.
Don't reinvent the wheel. We've got the first 2. All we need is second 2. And
I thought that was really a good idea.
You know, he was all for it. He felt it could be done.
Well, so I guess
I'd like to see it happen. I still would like to see it happen.
Well, I think there still is, I'm sure, meetings about the development of the university. But I wonder if they're keeping that in mind, that they don't have to develop a 4-year school.
Well, every time I talk anywhere, I've always talked about 2 more years is all we need.
Right. Good.
The junior and senior year. And if they want to go to graduate work, that's something else.
Sure. So, do you feel that there's anything that the people of Maui need to hear that they don't want to hear? How's that question? Some kind of thing.
I think the people are very much concerned about Maui's rapid growth, and they see evidence of a lot of traffic on the highway, and at certain times of the day, it bothers them a lot. And so you hear them remarking things. Maui is going too fast. Maui is not Maui. But how do you stop progress?
Well, I think that my goal is, I don't think we can stop progress, but it'd be nice to do it in a way that walks gently on the land. And
yeah, that's where master planning came into place. They use that as a proper tool. You can control a lot of growth.
You've heard about this EIS thing for planning. It's an environmental.
Oh, yeah.
You think we're close to that, maybe?
I thought we were just about there, and then I don't know what happened after that.
Just a money thing.
When Chris was still there, we were ready to go, you know.
Wow.
I was all for it.
So they've been talking about it that long?
Long time, yeah, long time.
Wow.
Chris was a good planner.
Well, I know that there's so many people in the community, as you know, who are absolutely sensitive to what we're doing with the land.
I know.
Sometimes I would wish that people would come out before the fact.
Yeah, well, you know, it's very easy to criticize after the fact. You say, well, look, if we were going to do it your way, there would be no jobs. Your kids would finish high school and they'd try to get a job on a plantation. There'd be no jobs available there, so they go away, you lose them. Chances are you lose them forever. They never come back. Is that what you want? We're trying to stop that. We're trying to create jobs here on Maui so the family can stay together if they want to. Well, a lot of them don't even think of that. They don't realize how true that is.
Well, you watch. You're going to see me. I'm going to be active out there. I can't seem to get away from it because I keep thinking that we can diversify our economy, create jobs, developing environmental products, do things here that'll show off to the whole world, get jobs here. Lots
Look what's happening in Kauai with their coffee. They're going great guns.
Right.
They're producing a darn good coffee in the west end of the island. And now with plantations closing down, you've got some prime land available for ag of all kinds. I'm a little bit chagrined that we don't have enough Maui papayas. I eat a papaya every day. I got to get mine from the Big Island. I'd rather get one from here.
Why do you get them from the Big Island?
Those are the ones that supply us.
Oh, that's a good reason. Well, we just gonna have to grow more.
There's a guy in Hana now. I just met him the other day.
Right.
Charles Borner.
Chuck Borner with Ono Farms.
Ono Farms. He's got some darn good papaya, so I buy that at his farmer's market in Kahului.
He's in Kipahulu.
Yeah, in Kipahulu,
He's
right.
in Kipahulu, but farmer's market in Kahului as well.
Yeah, he comes in every Wednesday. And so I just wrote him a letter about his papaya.
Well, you know,
he wants to frame it.
I am very interested in the papaya because we have a source that's on the mainland that will buy, if we want to create them, all the papayas we can create. And there's all kinds of new technology for cooling and drying and things.
Yeah,
Papayas are a great target of a product that can be really valuable.
To take care of the bugs in it. Talking about irradiation, there's a piece in the paper this morning that Big Island County has approved it.
Well, that's dangerous for the future of all produce from these islands.
Well, they don't agree, there's a lot of disagreement on that.
Well, I know that. again, maybe now isn't the subject, but this thermoacoustics, the ability to use a heat to generate a sound that will create cooling and use the waste heat for steam drying and cleaning instead of irradiation. I've been getting
Anybody working on that?
Well, you know, it's like I just talked to Senator Akaka's office because I've put it out to, I don't want to name names here, but all of our Senate and House state representatives, and they're so busy, what's the expression? Sometimes it's difficult to remember that your original intention is to drain the swamp when you're up to your eyes in alligators. But I've told these people all this idea, and now we have to take it another step. This is an important technology that could be incredibly valuable here. Yeah. So you watch out. We're going to have a show about it, but I think these are the kind of things that we need to have happen here.
Because they find some way of getting the bugs in that papaya. You can't beat the Hawaii papaya.
That's right.
They got good papaya in Mexico, but they can't compare with ours.
We got the best papaya.
Yeah.
Papa papaya, we call it.
Yeah. Well, you know, some years ago, A&B experimented with papaya in Punane. And their objective was to have a large crop of papayas, properly treated, and sent back on the Matson freighter. Because Matson was coming loaded and going back empty.
Right.
And it just did not pan out, but the papaya was good quality. They call it Princess Papaya. A little solo papaya, as sweet as could be.
Yeah.
And they powdered it all under it and gave it up.
Well, we can unpowder it.
I felt bad when they did that. My feeling was they should have given it to some farmer and let the farmer do it. Because they had the picking equipment, they had the elevated platform, and all of it was done scientifically by the engineering group.
Well, maybe we can rekindle it. You know, there's a growing realization that we need to be self-sufficient here and grow more of our crops locally for all our food.
They say that Kihei is one of the best places in the whole state for papaya.
Really?
Because the rainfall is just about right.
Oh.
Like Hana has too much rain, and that rain kind of interferes with the tree, and the roots begin to deteriorate. But in a place like Kihei, you got a lot of sun all day long. You have more sun in Kihei than almost any place else.
Right.
And they produce a beautiful papaya and mango. Just excellent. So I was hoping that somebody would take a couple of 100 acres and do it, you know.
Well, not this century.
Well, Peter Bowen has a lot of land available.
Well,
There's a lot of land
Peter?
up above. Yeah, Peter,
Take heed.
get rid of that. I'm all for it. I'll buy you papayas.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure that a lot of ideas hopefully will come, like you say. People have to be receptive.
Yeah.
Maybe them seeing you and me here and knowing we don't really have disagreements. I could call you green easy. Want to change parties?
You know, it was funny. You come out with a product like a good papaya, you put it on the market, and people buy it, and it tastes good. Before you know it, there's a run on it. They all want it. That's what happened at Kipulu. You know where I first tasted it? I was having dinner with Olds and you.
Oh, yeah.
At the lodge.
Oh, with the sticker on it, I remember.
And they came out with this papaya, and I looked at the papaya. I said, I want half of that. So I got half of it, and it was so good, I came back and tried to find out who the guy was, and I called him. And he got all excited, you know. I said, geez, it's a great papaya.
We can do commercials. We'll do them on ABC. We'll have Mayor Tavares with Ono Papayas. Okay.
That's a good one, huh? Yeah. You don't go wrong with it. Yeah, you won't go wrong with that, but I tell you, that's for sure.
I'm going to take a quick break so we can bring Airielle in, and we'll say goodbye to everyone. How's that sound? We'll be back in a moment.
And it's sweet. I got a sweet tooth. As long as it tastes sweet, I'm okay.
That's because you're so sweet. Well, it's been so wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you.
I know that all these wonderful people here have enjoyed having your presence.
You know, the thing that really hit home one day was when I ended up in the hospital, and there was a story in the paper that I'd had a slight heart attack. Practically every church came to my room. Buddhists,
Wow.
Mormons, Catholic, Protestant. I couldn't believe it. They all came to pray for me. Wow. Yeah.
That's so
It helped.
wonderful.
It helped. Yeah.
Prayer is they now have scientific studies
Yes,
done on
I
the
read
power
that.
of prayer. I love that.
That's true. I've always believed that.
Yes.
I've always believed that.
Yes, it's so effective.
You know, like when I had my open heart surgery, I died on the operating table for 8 seconds.
Wow.
They massaged my heart and it started going again. It's been going ever since. They put a pacer in, everything's fine.
And I have not a doubt that all those people praying for you made all that difference.
I think all those prayers began to make a difference.
Absolutely. You know, I have a little story that someone I know tells at her workshops that had happened, an actual story about the power of prayer. And this woman was in a car accident, a pretty bad car accident, and she went out of her body. And she could see all of these cars around her. She could hear what was going on in these other cars. And she could hear people saying things like, oh, no, not now. I have to get to work. Oh, this is just what I need. You know, all this stuff that people do when this kind of traffic jam happens. And from this one car, there was this incredible light radiating. And she was attracted to it, and she was attracted to this light. And this woman in the car was praying for her.
I'd be dying.
And she was so touched. And she said that it made the difference in her life. And somehow, I guess she was conscious enough to get the license plate of this woman.
Well, the surgeon was telling me about my heart stopping. And he said, did you experience anything? So I kind of put on my acting face and I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I did experience something. What was that? I said, well, I found myself talking to St. Peter. And he brought out his big book and he was going down the list. And he says, Tavares, Hannibal, yes. Oh, it says that you used to be the mayor of Maui County. I said, yeah, that's right. He said, well, we're sending you back because we don't want any mayors up here. You guys want to take over. The doctor looked at me and said, did he say that?
That's so funny. Good for you. Well, anyway,
the prayers were powerful. The prayers were powerful.
Very powerful. The outcome of this story is she healed, and she went to this lady's house through her license plate and brought her flowers and thanked her, and this lady was blown away. She felt that it made a big difference.
That reminds me, every June, I send a bouquet of flowers to my surgeon, in Honolulu.
Yeah.
And I just have a short note saying, thanks for saving my life. He wrote back to me and said, I'm the first guy who did that.
How wonderful.
We've enjoyed having you here with us.
Yeah,
I wish we had more time to go on. And you're a welcome guest. If you'll ever like to come back, we'd love to have you. In fact, we would even make you our third host. Mo, Larry, and Curly. I don't know which is which.
That's us.
Well, thank you, everyone, for being here with us, with Mayor Tavares and Airielle and myself here on Mama Presents. We hope to see you again. Aloha.
Aloha.